Hey, Armin here. Welcome to the NSP Nutrition Show, where we cover training, nutrition, supplementation strategies, and a whole lot more. So stand by. Hey, and welcome to the NSP Nutrition Show. I'm Armin Eckelbarger.
Hey, I'm Frank Mills, and thank you again for joining us today for another episode of the NSP Nutrition Show. We're going to be talking about something that's near and dear to all of us today, and it's going to be talking about what Armin has learned about hair loss. You know, we all don't want to lose our hair.
Yeah.
And if you're losing it or if you've lost it, maybe we can help you get it back. I don't know. We'll find out. But we'll be talking about that today. Also, have fan questions for you. So a lot of great information in the show today. So, you know, Armin, a lot of guys, I'm sure, are very interested in this topic, huh?
Well, I would think so. At the end of the day, it does affect a lot of people. Also affects women too. It's just something that happens to you over time. And there's a lot of things that are, what I've learned, there's a lot of things involved with how that all works. So that's what we want
Mm-hmm.
to try to get some takeaways today that kind of help some people.
Well, you definitely see it probably a lot more now. Back in our day when we were younger, a lot of the older men would leave the bald spot with the sides going right, or
Yeah.
they would do the comb over and things like that. Now it seems like a lot more guys are just like, screw it, I'm shaving my head, right? So it seems like that's what I see
Yeah.
a lot more now, right?
Yeah, well, it's kind of frustrating, but I've kind of learned why that, you know, you have it on the sides and it still grows there versus on top. I've learned some stuff
Mm-hmm.
about that too, which I think people find interesting. But anyways, we'll touch more on that too. So,
Well, a lot of different things I'm sure that we're going to talk about. So where do you want to start with this?
well, let's just start with some of the causes of hair loss because
Okay.
there's a lot of factors here, and I'm sure people probably aware of some of these already. But for example, genetics. I mean, there's a factor right there. So, male and female pattern baldness are the most common types of hair loss, and it's caused by genetic factors that also make people more susceptible to it. It can be what happens is the hair follicle will start to miniaturize, and then over time they're gonna break off. And some of this is really related to genetically how their sensitivity is to DHT, and that's dihydrotestosterone. So that's a pretty big factor with this as part of it. But we'll get more into that too. Then the hormone levels, which DHT is, that can change or cause an imbalance. And when that happens, then it starts affecting hair loss as well. So
Mm-hmm.
like for males over time, if their DHT starts to elevate, then that's going to cause them to lose hair. And
Okay.
that's just something that can naturally occur. So that's another factor. Then you have the medical conditions. Now with that, it can vary from just getting his scalp infections or autoimmune diseases, different things like that. So that's another area that's probably not as common, but still it's something that people have to deal with. Then if you take certain medications, it can affect it, which, that's something I'm going to talk about today too.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them is, obviously if you do chemotherapy, that's pretty obvious. It's, for treating cancer, that's going to cause hair loss. Blood thinners can cause hair loss, which is, I'm not sure a lot of people are aware of that. Antidepressants can cause it. And then, I mean, there's a few others, but these are going to have the side effect of taking that medication. It's going to do that to you. So then another one is stress. I mean, stress has caused all kinds of problems, no matter how you slice it. So, managing stress is always going to be important, but it can disrupt the hair growth cycle, and that can lead to hair loss. Then
Gotcha.
you have nutritional deficiencies. So nutritional deficiencies, like if you have a lack of iron, vitamin D, don't get enough protein, and the collagen can help as well. If you don't get, if your body's not making enough collagen, that's also another factor. So we'll touch on that. And then the other one is mostly just screwing your hair up with hair treatments and different hairstyles, and
Right.
that can cause some hair loss. It starts breaking hair off and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And that's something that's pretty fixable, but I don't think most guys are dealing with too much of that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you're dyeing your hair a lot, then that may be a factor there. But yeah, that's kind of the main ones that you'll see come up if you do a lookup about hair loss.
Mm-hmm.
But then we're gonna learn more about how all that works too.
Okay. Okay. Well, there's a lot of different causes, and we've just found that out. But really something that kind of hits more home is you had problems. And
Yeah.
I know that you wanted to talk about your situation. So exactly what happened with you?
Yeah. See, I just feel like my situation, a lot of guys can, probably agree with, or probably going through the same thing. That's why I felt like, we should bring it up and talk more about
Mm-hmm.
it. So, like for me, back around 2016, 2017, I kind of started noticing my hair was thinning a little bit. And I asked my stylist about it. He goes, well, yeah, it's a little bit, but nothing major. So, I did notice it. Didn't really do too much at the time. But you know, later I decided to mention it to my current hormone therapy doc, and because I looked it up, what can cause hair loss, and it said elevated DHT, like I mentioned before, dihydrotestosterone, and could cause it. And
Mm-hmm.
my levels were a little bit elevated. It wasn't anything bad, but they were elevated. And so I talked to him about it. He's like, well, we can do this. We can just take a drug called finasteride, also known as Propecia, and to help manage the DHT and kind of keep it under control. So, it can help you with not having as much hair loss. And he didn't mention anything else about, other than just taking it. He didn't mention any side effects or anything. It was just like, it does the job. So, I did what he said. And, after about close to 6 months, taking this drug. And then I noticed my sex drive was dropping. It wasn't as strong, and I still had hair falling out. So I was just
Hmm.
like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
So
Hmm. Definitely some things to cause some concern. So did you find out exactly what was causing that?
all right. So the thing is I didn't do any research like I would normally do on these kind of things because I'm relying on the doctor. And I think
Right,
this is something
right.
else I want to bring up because I think a lot of people are dealing with it. That's what they're doing. So after researching it more about what's going on, that was one of the side effects is it can lower your libido.
Hmm.
So I'm like, okay, well, that's nothing I want. I'm not really interested in that. I mean, do I want to have hair? Or do I want to have a low libido? So there you go. So you got to think through
Mm-hmm.
that. So I was pretty irritated that he didn't even mention that. Okay, and then I was irritated myself because I didn't pay attention. I should have checked into it more because I normally do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But he made it
yeah.
sound like it was no big. He made it sound like it was no big deal. So when I contacted him and asked him why he didn't mention it, he just said it doesn't happen to everyone, and so he didn't feel it was necessary to bring it up. So I was like, okay, well, lesson learned on that. I was like, ah. So then I decided to research a lot further, and because I was still losing hair while I was on this product, which that didn't make a lot of sense to me. Now I don't know if it kept from we're losing other hair, but I was still
Right.
losing hair. I'm like, well, I shouldn't be,
Hmm.
losing hair. Now, I do know that, you do lose 150 hairs a day. I've learned that. And that's just a standard thing that your body sheds. So that's one thing. So you are going to lose some hair. So that's okay. Keep that in mind. So that's kind of what I learned on that one.
Interesting. So exactly what did you find out when you did the research?
Yeah, good question. So apparently, even when you take this drug finasteride, also known as Propecia, it does not help with hair loss unless you shampoo the DHT out of your hair and scalp. So if you don't do that, okay, then what happens is it still causes a problem. So, you're doing this you think to stop the process, but if
Right.
you don't get the DHT out, it will kill the hair follicle. So you have to use a
Wow.
special shampoo and conditioner to get the DHT out of your hair and out of your scalp while you're taking the drug, which would have been nice information as well. Okay,
Right.
so I didn't get
Right.
that. So to really to suppress it, okay, you got to do the shampoo and the conditioner, and then again, I was really disappointed by my doctor. Because I'm wasting money on this drug,
Oh
even though
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
somewhat covered by insurance, and I'm not even getting I'm not even getting the full effect of what I needed. So I'm just paying to take the drug, and still losing hair. So you have to do that if your DHT. And the best thing to do is have your DHT level checked with lab work, and then you'll see if it's in the higher range or over the range. Then yeah, you've got a for sure issue that you're
Hmm.
going to need to address if you want to keep your hair. Okay,
Right.
so
Right.
just FYI on that.
All right. So what did you do after that?
All right, so I mentioned this many times, but you got to be your own advocate when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
your personal health. I mean, you just gotta you go to the professional, but just realize that they may be missing stuff or not covering everything because they're in a hurry and they're not really paying attention. So that's the major lesson, that's the major takeaway. So then I decided, okay, I didn't want to keep taking this drug, and because I don't want to compromise libido, and that's something that's important to every guy because it keeps your confidence up, makes you feel good. So then I decided, okay, I'm not going to take that. So what I want to do though is to kind of forestall more hair loss is just use the DHT shampoo, and you got to do a lot of research on those too. But anyways, take the DHT shampoo and the conditioner and then try to manage it that way and not worry about and you could take some supplements to manage your DHT, but I found those only work so it wasn't a like boron and another one, but that didn't really seem to do much. So um when I did the shampoo, it seemed to work a little bit. And so over the last 18 months, as I was doing this, and actually the last probably the last 6 months, my hair was really starting to come out. And I was like, all right. And I'm starting to really notice it. And it's like, this is getting depressing. So I had to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, kind of, I kept looking at my scalp in the mirror and, just continue to get thinner. And I could just feel the hair coming off as I'm in the shower, which was, you know, that's not real helpful either. It doesn't help
Right.
your psychology of it. So then at that point, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I just consider like you talked about, and I just go bald and just kind of go that route, and then I have to mess with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have two brothers that's what they ended up doing, and they're
Wow.
both younger than me. I mean, they're younger than me, so they went that route, and I'm like, okay, so but that's where I was at that point. I just have to get used to not having, just like you mentioned, I'll just shave it down and go that route.
Right. Well, the thing that I thought about, as you said, you had the younger brothers, it might be because of your actual supplementation, nutrition, of maybe why you still kept your hair a lot longer than they did, because you're pretty adamant about that stuff, but you still have hair.
Yeah.
So what happened? What did you
Yeah.
decide to do?
So, like again, this is where I had to really start doing the homework and start learning more about. And again, I was just like, well, what can you do? And I was in a couple of these different Facebook groups, and relating to these hormones parts, and these guys are all in there commenting on it too. But they're all like, "Hey, there's nothing you can do about it. Just get used to it." And that was their answer, and that sounds like just what a doctor would say. Well, that's there's nothing you can do about it. Just get used to it. So I decided, all right, let me just learn a little bit more about it, and then I started researching it, see if there's any other options out there. And
Mm-hmm.
then I noticed some ads on Facebook actually that were showing, how do you can combine the right shampoo and conditioner and take the DHC out, but then you add in Rogaine, also known as minoxidil, do that twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then they had before and after pictures of it. And I'm like, well, you know, and it was like it wasn't cheap for what the particular ad that I saw, but it was like $180. So this wasn't cheap. I thought, well, I'm just going to see if that even works, and that's what I did. And I did this about 3 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
give or take.
Okay. So you're not a spokesman for Rogaine or any of that. It's just you're telling
No,
people that you used it. So that
yeah.
was about 3 months ago. So what happened from that time to today?
So when I was reading about it, it said even if you start this process, you're still going to continue to lose some hair. So, and which is true, So I started doing the process of the shampooing and then adding the minoxidil in twice a day. Um, but I'm in there still feeling the hair coming off for several weeks. But then
Oh,
after that, it stopped happening. So I'm like,
oh,
hey, that's interesting. And then I'm applying. It was a liquid that I was applying initially. They have a liquid, have a foam.
mm-hmm.
So as I was applying the liquid, it was a little bit messy too because it runs down your scalp kind of quick. So you got to rub it in kind of fast. But uh, it's actually started to take hold. Now my hair is getting thicker, which is great. So I'm real happy with how things have been working.
Mm-hmm.
And then as part of this, I was researching, other things that can help with hair growth and collagen. Collagen
Hmm.
is a great way to help grow hair. So then I started, taking the NSP collagen. You got to take 3 capsules, and the best time to take that is before you go to bed,
Okay.
as it does you know what I read about. So it absorbs better. So I started taking that too to help with the hair growth, and I gotta tell you, I'm pretty happy with where things are at right now.
Well, that's
So
awesome. Huh.
yeah, it was quite surprising. It was really refreshing. So, anyways, that's
Well,
that's where I'm at with it at this point.
okay. Well, I am curious since you brought up the collagen. What exactly does collagen do for your hair?
So, like again, I was doing this research, and it's going to increase the body's building of proteins, which can result in longer, thicker hair because proteins are critical, okay,
Mm-hmm.
for all your body processes. And we've talked about that on so many shows. So that's one thing. But it also can help to reduce the appearance of gray hair, which I also noticed too, by supporting the healthy structure of the hair follicle. And so what's interesting is I noticed my hair wasn't much more gray hair as it was growing back, which is like, wow, because I've never dyed my hair ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, and so I had no idea that would be another part of it, because I guess the pigment that gives the hair color is produced when you're doing the collagen. So that's another benefit of it. So that was cool. And then it can also help improve, obviously, the circulation of the scalp, and then it helps with delivering the essential nutrients to the hair follicles.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the last thing is, I guess the way collagen works, it can help strengthen the hair shaft, which keeps it from breaking so easily. So, but you get the DHT out, you put these nutrients in, and bingo, it really worked. Now, I do want to say one other thing is, as I've been researching this, I've had a couple clients that had hair implant work done, and I found this very interesting. So this is another takeaway for everybody that's curious. But the hair that's on the side is not affected by DHT. So when they do these hair transplants, for anybody that is considering that or looking into it, they
Mm-hmm.
take the hair here, they pluck it from here and in the back, and they put that on the scalp, and so it no longer is affected by DHT, so it will last. So I was like, huh. Now that's what I'm told. It's not that it's dead accurate, but that's what I was told by these people, and
Right.
it made sense to me that it wouldn't be affected by DHT. So that's something else to consider if you're going to have some hair transplant work done. But that's pretty expensive. You're talking about 10 grand for that kind of stuff. So yeah, have to give that a
Very
lot of
interesting. Hmm.
thought.
Very interesting. A lot of this is really great information. I didn't know that about, the hair on the sides
I,
compared to what's on
I
top.
didn't
That
either.
that's really
But that's
interesting.
why guys
Hmm.
that's why guys bald on top, but they keep it on the side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Go
Well,
figure.
the thing that's interesting, Armin, is before I met you and when I took supplements after I met you, we talked about
Yeah.
that before. I noticed my hair growing more. I noticed like,
Yeah.
holy smokes, I got to get a haircut a little bit more often. Uh,
Yeah.
my fingernails like grow faster. Everything
Oh
grows
yeah.
faster,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
the actual supplementation does help you in a lot of different ways. But I actually had a little bit of a spot right here that my barber told me
Yeah.
about. But since I've been on the supplementation, eating right, and everything like that, whatever was out of balance has balanced, and that bald spot's
Yeah.
gone. So I'm pretty
Yeah. There
happy
you
with
go.
that
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So very, very interesting. All right. So we're almost out of time. Anything else you got for us?
Yeah, I would say based on my personal experience, if you're dealing with hair loss, I would start with finding the shampoo and conditioner, and there's different ones that you can use for that, and then using the Rogaine minoxidil protocol if you feel like you want to stave off further hair loss.
Mm-hmm.
But with it, you do got to give it some time to start working. It did take about, which it said when I was using the product, it would take several weeks, and it took about 6 weeks before I really started to notice anything. But I was pretty surprised how it was starting to work. Even the wife was like, "Hey, your hair looks starting to look thicker," and so I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty excited about it at this point. And hopefully, it'll continue that way. But you never know.
Right.
And
Right.
so I guess to give everybody an idea, the product that I used that I started with was a company called LifeCell, and I
Okay.
bought their shampoo and conditioner, and then I also bought the minoxidil from them, which was like I mentioned, is liquid application, but I didn't really
Mm-hmm.
like that as well. So I switched over to a foam, and I get that from Regenovade, which you can look these things up on Amazon because that's where I
Right.
bought it from. I mean,
Okay.
you can look them up directly on their website, but those products have so far worked well, so I'm real happy with it. But the funny thing is you can buy the Regenovate. It's pretty inexpensive in the foam, and they sell it in like 3 month or so packages. So, and it's pretty easy to apply. You just put the foam in and just rub it into the scalp. So, just pleasantly surprised. And finally, I would say I'm not sure how long it's going to last, but I'm hoping it keeps coming back the way it's doing. And then, I just really surprised how much more it's filled in over the last,
Mm-hmm.
it's been getting close to 3 months that I've been using it. So
Well,
there's my story.
well, it just goes to show that, there's a lot of different options out there for you if you are starting to
Yeah.
notice that your hair is thinning, or even if you've lost your hair, there's some hope that you could maybe get it back. So, a lot of great
Oh,
information, Armin, and I'm sure that everybody will enjoy this episode. And we appreciate all the info and all the time doing the research.
want to add one more thing. So
Sure.
there are companies now that are coming out with the minoxidil with the finasteride combined. Now, I haven't tried that, but
Mm-hmm.
by adding the finasteride to the scalp is supposed to help with the DHT as well. So you may want to do some homework on that. I'm checking into that. But since I had the experience with it, I'm a little reserved. But I guess if you do it on the scalp, it doesn't cause what they're saying is it doesn't cause the effect of libido. So who knows?
Right.
But that's another thing that you'll see when you start shopping these types of solutions out.
Awesome. Well, again, some great information. Everybody stand by for a quick word from NSP Nutrition, and Arm and I will be right back.
Hey, and welcome back to the NSP Nutrition Show. I'm Armin Eckelbarger.
Hey, I'm Frank Mills, and before we get started, just to let everyone know, in our first segment, we talked about NSP collagen. It is in stock. It's available on the NSP Nutrition website, and you can check it out. We also have a special for the 10% off for the Vince's Gym
Mm-hmm.
as well. So check that out as well. And good luck for any of you that are going to try the hair options that Armin offered. We'd love to hear from you on that. So that being said, let's get into fan questions. Now, Armin, you and I have been doing and talking shows and different topics now for 3
Yeah.
years. And, it's a lot of things that we've covered, but we've talked about the preparation, we've talked about nutrition, and all the
Yeah.
different things in between. But we had a really good fan question this
Hmm.
week that really made me think that this person is serious about their fitness. And,
Okay.
when I got this in from Patrick, and Patrick's over in the UK,
Mhm.
really made me kind of sit down and think about some things. And, Patrick, I appreciate the question. So here's the question. He goes, guys, I have the preparation down. I have the nutrition down. I've done all of the research. I have a successful type of a program in place that has been great for me.
Hmm.
He said the biggest problem I'm having now is the mental preparation, the mental toughness. Um,
Yeah.
and I was really struggling with this in regards to work. I've got a family, I've got kids, they have activities, I have friends, I
Yeah.
have obligations of going to clubs and things like this. And the thing that Patrick did is he made it a point, and this is why he's sharing this with us, is,
Okay.
that sounds like normal life, right? Uh, we
Yeah.
we all have stuff, right? Um,
Oh yeah.
so I I reflected about times I had to drive an hour to go to work. I've thought about things that, I've had to do because I'm married, I have kids, we have obligations and responsibilities. And the thing that Patrick brought up is something I've implemented into my daily routine, and it's been tremendous. And Patrick wanted to share this with you guys, and I kind of
Okay.
am right there with Patrick. He takes, just like he takes time, an hour of his time to work out every day. He
Okay.
takes a certain amount of time for his actual preparation for his nutrition. He
Yeah.
takes time for all that stuff. But the thing that Patrick wanted to offer is he said, he loves the show. He appreciates everything that we offer, but he would love to hear a segment on, Armin, how you prepare mentally every day or
Mm.
weekly or however you do it.
Okay.
He has implemented a type of a meditation time slot for himself every day. He goes to different places. Sometimes he does it at home, but he
Hmm.
takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour to just block out the world, quiet,
Wow.
and
Okay.
just really thinking about things other than work or family or marriage, or right. He takes
Yeah.
time for himself and
Yeah.
meditates
Well,
and
good
focuses on
call.
himself. And, you know, I kind of agreed with him, Armin, because we take time to take our car for maintenance, right? Or if there's an issue
Yeah.
with our son or daughter or significant other or family member, we always make time for that immediately. But a lot of
Yeah.
times, why we have stress, a lot of times, why we don't deal with things very well is because we don't take that time for ourselves. Now, I know that you have to have extreme mental toughness for your workouts and for what you do. But do you have any kind of maybe kind of information or some quick tips that you can give him that might help him with his daily struggle? And do you think it's a good idea to do a whole show on it? What do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, I can kind of think through different things that can be discussed. I guess, from a quick standpoint, for me, it is a mental game. So you have to decide each day, you know, or is this going to be a training day? And if it is, what am I going to do? And that
Mm-hmm.
can be done the night before. okay, to kind of figure out what you're going to, and I typically start thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow regarding a training routine, and also what I got to deal with on my nutrition throughout the day. So I do a mental prep typically the day before, night before. So that when I get up, I have somewhat of a game plan, and then based on everything that hits me, I tighten that down. Because when you get up, you can get interrupted. You got things you got to get done. So I kind of have it a good framework. But then as I see what's going to happen for that day, then I kind of tighten things down. So the other part for me on the mental game is to get myself in a frame of mind so that I can get a good workout. And so what I like to do is I lean on caffeine for me to kind of get me, get my mind fired up and get my body heated up. And then when I take the niacin and the beta alanine, these things kind of give you a flush of your system, but
Mm-hmm.
kind of makes you uncomfortable. And I've found that works well to kind of get me into that game plan to get the intensity that I need to do. And so, I do a quick warm up and then I just get right to it. And obviously the first few sets, you're getting your head in the game. So
Mm-hmm.
you're just focused on your form and you're making sure you're doing things right. And then after that, you got to get mad or other strategies that can motivate you to, and having a partner can really help. If
Right.
you got a
Right.
training partner and you're going at it, then that's also very helpful. I found that to be beneficial too. But a lot of times that you may not have that. So when I've had to train on my own, I just had to make sure that I've got an agenda. I know what I'm going to do. Then I want to see how well I can execute that workout. And then after
Right.
I get done, I
Right.
got to focus on recovery. So I got to make sure I'm getting plenty of nutrition to help with the recovery as needed. And then at the end of the day, I got to make sure I get good sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never going to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Some days you have great workouts, and then some days it's just a battle. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like you just got to get through it. So when that happens, if I'm feeling good, I'll go heavy and I'll go really hard. If I'm really struggling that day, I'm going to back off a little bit because my body's kind of telling me, hey, you know, we're not feeling it today.
Mm-hmm.
So I just do as much as I can, maybe go higher rep just to keep my mind in the game, knowing that I'm getting something beneficial done.
Mm-hmm.
May not be the greatest workout, but when you do it that way, you'll find you get more and more. You'll get better workouts more consistently by keeping that mental frame and having your strategy. You may have to adjust your strategy also over time depending on what you're dealing with, and
Mm-hmm.
that's always another one. If I get interrupted and I can't get my workout into that day, I get down, but then I go, okay, well, it's just not going to happen today, but I'm going to use this as a recovery day. I'm going to keep myself mentally tough. So I'll be ready for tomorrow. I'm just going to hit it that much harder
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. And again, you do need a couple of days rest to help with recovery. So keep that in mind too. These people that train 7 days a week on nonstop. I've tried all that. I'm not a big fan of that. I think you do need some time just to let your central nervous system, your brain clear out. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my, I don't know, it's a little bit longer than anticipated, but that's kind of where I'm at.
No, no, that's some good info. The thing that I implemented is, if I'm outside or inside or whatever, it really kind of depends on the day. But I normally keep earbuds and I'll
Mm,
play. Trying to describe the music more instrumental or maybe new age where there's no words because I don't want to think,
okay.
right? Uh,
Mm,
and I'll play that type of music and I'll close my eyes and I'll shut everything out. Um,
mm,
and I have found that mentally, it's allowing my brain to kind of rest. I know it does it when you
yeah.
sleep, but your brain still is active when you're sleeping. So I try to just take at least 30 minutes a day to
Mm,
where my eyes
mm,
are closed, I got the music on, and I am just really focused on thinking about me,
mm,
about
yeah. Okay.
um, so I think that does help, but everybody's different. We all have different things that we like to do. I know a lot of individuals like to get in the outdoors. That's very good for you as well. But
Oh yeah.
I guess the bottom line is just make sure that you're taking time for yourself every day to recover mentally, to keep you mentally sharp. I guess that's what my thought was.
Yeah, but you got to figure out what that's going to be so that you can stay
Exactly.
consistent with it. And when you find it, then hey, okay, now I understand better. And that's just part of it, growing and maturing, and dealing with life with all the the stuff they throwing at you every day. Because I mean, it's always it's an unknown every day you get up.
Absolutely. Well, Patrick, thank you so much for the
Yeah,
some great
appreciate it.
input. I mean, it really probably made us reflect right now about a lot of things that
Yeah,
maybe that we could even implement ourselves, and I hope it helps the audience as well. But thank you for sharing that. And we want you to share stuff. So scan that QR code above us and get some topics into us. You can comment on
yeah.
YouTube. Also, email at support@NSP Nutrition. And we want your feedback. This was a great segment. And thank you, Patrick, for that. But,
Yeah.
Armin, that's what we need. That's what we look forward to, right? Is that
Oh
feedback?
yeah. I mean, yeah, because it can help some more people. Because I mean, it's out there. I mean, everybody has problems they're dealing with, and so if we can help them move closer to getting that solved, then they are more productive. They're going to get more out of their life and enjoy life better. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
Absolutely. So please take the time and share the show with your friends and family or anyone else that you feel it could help. And join Armin
Yep.
and I next week for a brand new episode of the NSP Nutrition Show.
Hey, thanks for checking out the NSP Show. Go to nspnutrition.com where you can find a whole heap of resources to help you achieve stunning definition and eye-popping levels of muscularity. Don't forget you can save 10% on your first order by using the code NSP Show at the checkout. Catch you next time.